Hey guys, welcome back to Fromthedepths with ChillBuilder here. Once again, we're doing Barons of the North playthrough with challenge difficulty and CRAM only. Challenge upon challenge. So yeah, that's a pretty fun one. It's a head scratcher. Definitely, interesting way to play it. So off, we got a heat wave. This is another unit that's not pre-built into the campaign, but spawned by the enemy using their own resources, or rather spawned by the AI. Unfortunately, it's got a setting as an air unit, so it spawned in the water and it died right away. So not too much CC there. Next up, we got Empire outpost called the Storm. Name of this fleet here is called the Parity Squadron from Eclipse, which is a high-tech faction or manufacturer as part of the First Empire. It's got 8 low-altitude hover tanks. They're pretty low, they don't go very fast, but are very evasive, and I think there's some kind of bug on the main craft that's spawning in everything else. So we're dealing with them using our heavy super tanky land ship. It's got fairly long reload time on those CRAMs, which means each shot does a lot of damage when it lands. Some of these shots are kind of Hail Mary. They're beyond the what I would like to be the optimal range of these guns, but again, the enemy isn't evading very much, so we got a decent chance to, as you can see, to harm these hover tanks. So now we despawn the land ship, which is actually called the Batland Ballard, and we spawn in our Death Magic hover tanks to hunt down some of these final enemies that's kind of straggling. There's 8 of these hover tanks overall. Next up is a Hurricane. I think the theme of this fight is just carriers or small groups, which is quite annoying for our CRAM vehicle so late in the game. But we're gonna get a good position to spawn as close to these targets as possible.
Moving out.
I think my CRAM tank had some kind of malfunction. The frag just exploded on the hull itself. It's very unfortunate, but we did manage to catch any of these planes before they launched, but they seem to have suicided onto the mothership by themselves, losing 2 of those units there, which is good for us. Save the trouble of trying to hunt them down. Our hover tanks, they're taking quite a bit of incendiary damage from these planes. Their missile defense system is designed to kind of swat out a large swarm of missiles or large missiles, but not a constant stream of missiles coming in from outside continuously. So we're taking them away, getting them a bit more repairs, and then we're spawning them in with a bunch of our new fighters. Previously we've kind of been retiring these small fighters because we're fighting large enemies, but you can't catch a mouse with a lion basically. With CRAM units, they're just not agile enough. They're too much inertia to maneuver too close to their target. So the success rate of these fighters is not very good, especially when you don't micromanage them. The kill to death ratio is about 1-to-1. But at this point we have enough money to build a fleet of these fighters and potentially suffer the attrition. So it's just something that has to be done. One thing I did notice with these fights is sometimes the aircraft tend to maneuver outside of the atmosphere, and they're not able to turn anymore. And they fall down into the atmosphere again. And at this point, they're not able to maneuver, so they have pretty predictable paths for CRAMs to hit. The next outpost is a fleet called the Dragons.
Moving out. Moving out. Listening.
This fight versus the Dragons fleet is quite annoying. It's got a pretty expensive fleet, almost like 260k of resources, with 2 escort fighters and a bomber. We got a very lucky shot versus that first bomber or first fighter. But later on, as you can see, they're moving very erratically, so they're supposed to be impossible to hit. Seems like we had an issue with missile defenses on the ballad. Probably because the main bomber uses only kinetic missiles. Or maybe not, maybe we're just unlucky. So that took out the AI box of the land ship from underneath. So now we're spawning our Siege Titan a bit prematurely, but it's okay. It can definitely tank all the damage these planes can do. It's a bit unfortunate, like obviously we can't hit these planes. I was hoping to run them out of material, but this is kind of a shitty mechanic in the game that they're damaging enemy territory and they're despawning. I mean, I won't complain, but it's not necessarily a fair game mechanic that really needs to be there. Those Thunder and Lightning planes were actually one of the units in this playthrough that I was most worried about. They have a top speed of over 200 meters per second, so there's no possible way I would have been able to damage them. I was just hoping they won't spawn and kind of have to outlast their fuel capacity. But it turns out to not be so bad with that shitty enemy territory mechanic. Now we're fighting the Earthquake, which is a much lower risk fight. This whole Siege Titan, the erudite Castilian. Oh my god, my naming scheme, I can barely remember when I name these things. So the Castilian is built specifically to take on the Earthquake, which is I think one of the most expensive units in this campaign. It does have a repair shield in front of the main hall, and then yeah, it has a lot of CRAM cannons. One thing it doesn't have that I wish it had would be distraction CRAMs, but it's got a 600k resource cost. I didn't want to inflate it any further, even though we can definitely afford some distraction CRAMs, I think. And it's also good against these late game buildings, static installations. They're fairly tanky, but not super tanky. But they do a lot of damage if you ignore them for too long. But with the level of firepower the Siege Titan has, I was able to level one of these guys in a single salvo. I think this one survived luckily, so we can kind of scrap it for materials. But later on, you'll see a lot of these little forts getting leveled. So have you guys been playing Barons of the North? Anyone in the viewership played this campaign, and what's your experience with this campaign? Do you have any fun stories? Any favorite, or at least most favorite, or least favorite enemy units? Yeah, let me know in the comments if you do. I think
Yes, you have control.
I played this campaign twice, once with standard units and once with CRAMs only. Obviously when I played with standard units I did a lot of honor rules, like no nukes, almost until the end, no manual aiming, and then I didn't do any capture either. But I think the huge learning takeaway I had with this campaign for the first run is just how to deal with flankers and the importance of building my own flankers to deal with some of these enemies. Definitely a tactical strategy rather than over optimizing frontsiders for myself. Just having different units that work together instead of committing to a single type of units. It's definitely helpful. I end up building a lot of rushdown units or flanking units, and then obviously for the CRAM it's all about rushdown. And just having units that can go up to that speed and get into close range. Once you do, I think it's actually really powerful. Something I have not really experienced before until running this challenge, which is fun. And you have to be very careful with coding of the breadboard and how to approach the target and stay on its tail and all that stuff. So here, this fleet is called the Riders of Rohan. A bit late on the commentary, but the first was the Curious Am missile variant. It's an old friend that we knew very well how to kind of disable and collect his resources. I think we got 120k from that. And the second is the Luminous, which is one of the most tested enemy units as I was building up my fleet. So it's 3 very fast units, and I need to figure out how to take it down easy, but it seems like 3 hover tanks would be the best combination. Having a gunship is decent as well. Because these CRAM units have to stay so close to the target, there's a limited volume of space where they can occupy, so they're not very good at working well together, especially since I haven't upgraded them with kind of custom breadboard friendly avoidance, which has become possible in the last few months with a breadboard update that you're able to read the nearest allied unit position. But either way, I don't think that will help too much because they just need to go full speed and tail these enemies. These Luminous fighters, they're pretty cute with the landing gear, but that didn't save them. The only way to survive is to have speed. Once you lose that, you're dead.
Turning off weapons only.
So a few final forts here for our Siege Titan to destroy. So overall, this whole project took about 6 to 8 months, 5 to 6 months to build all these units. It's definitely a commitment to make sure every unit looks significantly different and have their own personality. So that was a big challenge, but it's a very ChillBuilder thing to do. And then about a month to play the campaign, and now 2 months to do the voiceovers, and very much looking forward to the next project.
Engaging now.
There's a couple options. I know this is a land campaign, and I've been itching to play Rulers of Steel for a very long time. I definitely look forward to a campaign that's not as challenging as Barons, where you have to min-max every move. You can't make any bad moves. I say I'm looking forward to a campaign that's easier, where I can, afford some unit losses and just have massive units battle each other out. For Rulers of Steel, that's a land campaign similar to Barons, but the units are much smaller. There's more damage, and then I could potentially use the Imperial Guard units I built last summer to play that. Outside of this, there's been the new sail update. It's been pretty fun building sailboats. I don't know why I can't use the sailboats, but yeah, that's been a fun experience. So there you go. The next episode will be the final episode for Barons of the North. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you next time.